The last padded practice of the week, the most competitive, most game-like practice of the week, and the Denver Broncos continued to get the news we all had hoped when it comes to the quarterback of the future. We have a much too early 53-man roster prediction and a ton more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan. If you love the Denver Broncos, it helps me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So the news that we are hearing out of camp from pretty much every journalist who is there is that Bo Nix continues to show that he is at least on par with Jarrett Stidham, and all signs are pointing to Bo Nix being the starting quarterback starting week 1. My take has always been that if it's anywhere close to being an even competition, you got to go with Bo Nix to see what we have. I know that once Bo Nix is the starter, you really got to give him the entire year, so I could understand why you might want to lean towards Stidham and then put Bo Nix in, because you can't let Bo Nix go 5 games and then pull him for Jarrett Stidham. But more and more signs are showing that these guys are really equal there. Jarrett Stidham might have a little bit of an edge, and we're going to take a look at some of the takes on that here in just a second. But obviously, the fact that Bo Nix is even in the competition, really just 10 practices in with limited number of snaps, just hearing stuff like PJ Locke come out and say he's already reading us and playing games with us. We're going to see some things that Chaquan McMillian said about him today and some things that Shawn Payton voluntarily said about him today that just make it seem like Bo Nix has this job, which is a fantastic sign here. So here it is on 9 News saying that it looks like it's going to be Bo Nix. DNVR, I check out as soon as every single training camp is over. I watch their podcast. And now he has been stacking days, stacks on stacks on stacks, gold medals for Bo Nix, really having him and Stidham just completely equal. And I think that when the tie really goes to the rookie in this, because we want to see who we have. And just kind of seeing here, again, we've heard so many things that his teammates have said about him voluntarily, how much they like him. We heard Tim Patrick come out and say how impressed he's been with him. And today we see one of our star cornerbacks, Chaquan McMillian, just say that he's been incredibly impressed with him, and that he's getting better every single day, and the fact that he's already starting to read the defense, which obviously he's going to need to be able to do. And obviously, if we're talking 3-4 years from now, he needs to be able to do this. But what's impressive is that he is doing this 10 practices into training camp. Imagine what he's going to be doing halfway through this year. And I think that is absolutely fantastic news. We're taking a look here. There's a ton of people out on Twitter who have been keeping track of his completions. And this is not just completions in 7-on-7s. They're also tracking his 1-on-1. So I think this is a little bit inflated, but the fact of the matter is Bo Nix has only thrown 1 interception in all of those different scrimmage periods and those different 7-on-7 drills, and also the total team scrimmage, which is incredible. This year, some NFL scouts are reportedly saying that he's showing early signs of Andrew Luck. I tried to look at what scouts are saying that and can't find it. But the fact of the matter is that the biggest thing is that Shawn Payton today, to me, this really summed it all up for us, that they asked about Bo Nix, and before people have pushed him on it and been like, hey, how does Bo Nix compare to Drew Brees? And he's be like, I don't want to compare those two. Like that's unfair pressure. Today, this was of his own accord. And he, like right here, made a Drew Brees comp just of his own accord. And here's what it is.
I like it. I'm for it. I think it's a trait that when we watched, you see pretty good pocket sense. Doesn't take a lot of sacks. I think he knows when the play's over, time to go. And then I think he can make plays when he's going. So I used to say this all the time, that the sack numbers are a reflection more on the quarterback than the offensive line. And there are some.
So first off, what does that say about Russell Wilson, right? The sack numbers are more of a reflection on the quarterback than the offensive line.
You know, Brees was one of those guys who he was a tough sack. Ball came out, and I think Bo has traits like that.
So I think that's incredible high praise from the head coach, the quarterback that he loved, that he won a Super Bowl with. He's making a direct comparison there to Bo Nix, and that was one of the things he raved about Nix right away as soon as he hopped on with Pat McAfee after the draft, said that he was one of the least sacked quarterbacks, and they always talked about how if you're a highly sacked quarterback in college, you don't miraculously become a low sacked quarterback in the NFL because those things are correlated. It's the traits of how quick can that ball get out. And you're seeing him do the pre-snap reads and directing his offensive line where to pick it up. And so already it's a cleaner pocket because he's so cerebral that he's reading that. But then even if he misses a call, he's able to get that ball out so quickly that he is going to be a very low sacked quarterback. So it's all of that that just has me like just completely boggled as I take a look at different rankings across football here and where people have our roster ranked. And so this was the Fox rankings, which had the Denver Broncos as the 31st best team in the NFL. And it's mind-boggling to me. Like, either I am just so orange and blue pilled by this Broncos team, or what am I missing here? That as I look at so many of these teams who are ranked above us, we just destroyed or were very competitive with. Like, we beat Buffalo on the road with a quarterback Shawn Payton does not like and beat them in a must-win game for them. We beat the Browns. We beat the Chiefs, and the game that we didn't beat them, we held Mahomes so low, like one of his lowest scoring games of the entire season. We truly should have beat the Houston Texans if Russell Wilson he had 4 shots at the end zone to win that game at the end. We beat the Packers to start our win streak. And it's mind-boggling to me that we are the 31st ranked team on here, and that is why I'm so high on the Broncos. I don't think we're going to win the Super Bowl next year, but I think we're going to shock some people because people are truly sleeping on this Broncos team if they think we are the 31st best team in football. It is absolutely a joke. I think one of the biggest positions that you're going to see a massive increase this year is our running game is going to be back to the Denver Broncos running game that we have always known and loved. And I think one of the big things is just all of our different backs who can do different things. We have Jaleel, who is Jahmyr Gibbs and is insanely fast and has added muscle. Javonte has lost a ton of weight and is what Shawn Payton wants him to be. And then Audric Estime, watch this play and just imagine any corner in the league trying to tackle Audric Estime, who does truly have the equally fast 10-yard split as like a Blake Corum, who was picked way before him. Just like, I mean, imagine trying to stop that. It's ridiculous. And that's the kind of stuff we're going to see all the time this year, which leads us to truly, we're now getting to the part where we're going to start to have to talk about 50 cuts to get down to the 53-man roster. And so looking at friend of the show, Locked On Broncos, Sire Bettinger, the man, the myth, the legend, came out and did his initial 53-man roster prediction for who he thinks is going to make this team. And a couple disagreements I have with Sarah, and I tell him to his face as well. Big thing here, he's talking about Trenton Gill being the winner of the punting competition. And I was able to look just historically. Riley Dixon has like a cannon for a leg. I know we don't want to spend a ton of time on the punter here, but I guess they're saying that at camp they're not far apart. But Riley Dixon has like a 71-yard kick when he was with the Giants, and I think he's demonstrated that he's a beast as a punter, and I don't think there is a reason to pick Gill, who was formerly of the Chicago Bears, and I think he played for the Wolfpack, NC State, and I think he averaged like 44 yards kicking in college, and I just feel like, man, Riley Dixon is him, and he's not going to save us that much under the cap to get rid of him. He's predicting that we carry 3 quarterbacks into camp. I think if Bo Nix wins the job out, we save a bunch of money in salary cap. I think $5 million if we cut Jarrett Stidham. And at that point, if it's already Bo Nix, if something happens and Bo goes down, you might as well just throw Zach Wilson in. So if we want to save $5 million, whether we want to spend it this year or that would roll over to next year and help offset some of that Russell Wilson cap hit. And I know it makes me seem like a Jarrett Stidham hater, and I've loved Jarrett and what he's brought to this team. But I just think if that's an easy way that you can save some salary cap, I don't know if he'll carry 3, but that'll be very interesting. Interesting thing here, the big cuts he has Samaje Perine, and he has our fullback, Michael Burton, both not making the 53-man roster. I think that is not that likely to have both of those dudes not make it. I think Michael Burton is a favorite of Shawn Payton, so I think Burton would make it over Nate Adkins. But let me know any of those things that you disagree with, or if you agree more with our main man, Sarah Benninger. Either way, we've got a ton to look forward to. Broncos football starts a week from tomorrow when we go to the Indianapolis Colts, and we have a ton to believe in.